There is the need to deepen conversations that will advance the administration of justice and corrections reforms in Nigeria. Activists say this will help actualize the resolutions by stakeholders from a recent national conference. We have details in this report.
Female genital mutilation involves the partial or total removal of the external female genitals for non-medical reasons. The health risks associated with FGM include uncontrollable bleeding, urination problems, infection, painful sexual intercourse, high-risk pregnancy for mother and child, as well as fertility and mental issues on the survivor. According to the United Nations, 200 million women and girls are caught every year. And in Nigeria, 20 million females have undergone the procedure. This makes Nigeria the country with the third highest cases in the world. The UN and its partners are here at Ashogbo community in Bariga, asking residents to stop the dangerous practice.
So as advanced and privileged as Lagos is in many areas, there are also huge areas of Lagos where there is not a lot of awareness and where we do know the prevalence is very high. So that is why we are in Lagos. We must not forget that we also, in a time of global migration, we also have migration from rural areas to urban areas. And very often we forget that represents other challenges that we need to figure out how we work with the communities as they come into here.
Under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015, perpetrators are liable to a 4-year jail term or a 200,000 naira fine.
Something wrong that she has to deal with. There's really no health benefit. And the practice is carried on because of a traditional belief that it helps with chastity and purity in women and girls, which of course isn't true.
In May, the Ministry of Interior, in partnership with the Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action and the Open Society Initiative of West Africa, as well as other groups, held a well-attended 2-day conference. It was focused on the need to develop sustainable strategies for the management of pretrial detention and decongestion of custodial centers nationwide. Having raised critical observations on the worrying indices, it was resolved, amongst other recommendations, that under Section 12, subsection 4 to 12 of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act, state controllers of correctional centers should alert relevant stakeholders if the facilities have exceeded their capacity or refuse to accept any more inmates.
We do not know the number of persons who are in custody. And the high-level conference stressed on the fact that we must, as a nation, try to know every person who is detained in all places of detention in Nigeria. Nobody really knows. And there are about 19 institutions that detain people. We need to know at any particular time the total number of persons that are in all places of detention and know what proportion are in custodial centers, what proportion are in police cells, NDLEA, and the rest of them.
Prawa is also partnering with the media and other groups to sustain this campaign.
Our prisons are over-congested. Lives are being lost. The prisons are reforming nobody. The name is Correctional Center, but nobody is being corrected. Rather, characters are deformed by virtue of what people undergo when they are in prison. And we become a laughing stock. Giant of Africa cannot get any of our system working.
We have to be extremely very careful. So if we have a situation where we now start giving licenses to maybe because states cannot operate correctional centers, they now start giving licenses to operate to private individuals. I'm glad you're going to have 5-star hotels being set up for the purpose of persons not actually going to a correctional center but having fun all his life, or not even serving at all.
The activists are also calling for consistent activation of all oversight mechanisms that will actualize reforms in all custodial facilities. Kemi Foladiemo, TVC News, Lagos.